Hey folks, and happy Wednesday. We were going to do a session on ranting today, but I will spare you a rant, and instead we are going to be talking about how to log those career wins and what to do next in your career journey. And when you're doing a lot of different things and you have one of those careers, and maybe I'll just call myself out, but you do a lot of different things. How does it make somewhat sense when you're putting together that portfolio, that quote unquote linear place, that idea of getting things going? So if you're following along, welcome. I'm Erin. I'm a technical community builder and developer advocate, but outside of that, I am a technical advisor. I teach. I love academia. I'm a total geek. I nerd out about news and research fandoms and the creator economy. I've worked as a journalist. There's a lot of things I've done that haven't really been that linear career path. And I think sometimes I get the imposter syndrome of, is this too much? Am I doing the right thing? How do I showcase it? Like, here's a skill I learned that isn't a direct tie-in to the job, but I think it's still important that we share these things, and especially with developer relations becoming a very new or emerging background, we have to be more open to these like non-linear career paths. Personally, I'm a big believer that if you want to kind of encourage diversity or encourage new folks, you have to embrace the diversity. You have to embrace the new folks that are coming into the world and embracing what's going on. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of show you this process that I've been kicking around. I recently have done something similar for 2 different clients of mine as a freelance contractor. And, you know, kind of the whole process of we build things for others before we build things for ourselves. I wanted to build my own on this stream of how I'm going to log what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and then sharing it across to different audiences easily. So today's tools we'll be using, I'm going to be really leaning into Ghost, Airtable, and Polywork. Those are my core 3, but we'll also be likely using LinkedIn and Twitter as well. So if you're around, great. Would love to kind of hear. But first off, we need to identify what career wins we have, how we're doing it, and why this is so important to everything. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just take a quick moment and I'm going to load up Airtable. So I'm actually a fan of the Airtable app. They actually do have a pretty great app. If you haven't used Airtable before, it's a database software. Pretty like it is considered, they consider it in those no code, low code tools, but I'm a big goober. I use it for my budget. I use it for freelancing work. I use it for newsletters. I've built CRMs and content strategies with it. I've built, you know, a like content like CMSs out of Airtable because it is so accessible and you can use it completely no code at all if you don't want to write a single line of code, or you can use it and get some pretty technical things in it as well if you really want to do that. So before there were tools like Orbit or Comsor or Common Room, I used Airtable to simply build out my own content routine just because I was so interested in getting this going. If you've used Airtable before, would love to kind of hear from you and what you're liking about it. If not, that's totally cool too. But starting things off, all I'm going to do is I have this like neglected current community content highlights board that I literally have done nothing with. So it has nothing on it and that's the wrong base, yada, yada, yada. It's called Community Wins. It's a very neglected old one, and I'm just sharing my screen here. And if you can see, I'm going to pop this up. It's a pretty neglected database. All it is, I've just spun up a very quick database. It has almost, nothing in it. Okay, it does have nothing in it. And I did have it just with a quick little automation, but for today, I'm really wanting to make sure that we're improving that and making it a way that A, I can share it, B, I can create it in a manner that actually is helpful for me. So one of the things that I think we struggle with as creators or, you know, dev content creation is we don't think about how, or even community, we don't log it when we're having a bad day. So I have just basically a folder on my desktop that's called wins in my desktop. Instead of like having the desktop mess folder, I have a folder titled desktop shit, which is, you know, to each their own. It's just the desktop chaos put in a folder so I don't have to look at the chaos. But all I want to do is start logging the different wins that I have. So in this first column, we'll see win, the Twitter handle of the person it came from, URL if it was a direct mention, who it was mentioned by if we want to do a name. If I added it to Orbit, I'm actually going to archive this. I'm no longer really using Orbit, so I'm just going to archive this field. Delete. If I've added it to Notion, so I also did build a Notion log win board previously, but this doesn't really fit with my new content kind of creation stack at this current moment. So I've switched a lot of it to Ghost and Airtable and stuff. So I'm actually going to archive that as well and delete that field. Business impact. I think this is a really important one these days. Like, we don't think a lot about how our content we do, the talks that we give, the people that we meet can impact a business, but more importantly, impact ourselves as creators as well. So you never know, that one person that I collaborated with 3 years ago are still in touch. I actually was on a Twitter space this morning as I was kind of planning out my day with 2 people that I met at a job 3 jobs ago now. And the way that you can connect with people is so amazing. So it's really important to make sure that you're just like logging that in some way, shape, form. But I am going to change this to impact instead of business impact. See that it happens. And if you have a screenshot of it, just simple upload. So yes, this has a pretty basic table here. I do kind of want to make it so we can create a system of logging these online. So in order to know what is a win, we have to do some goal setting. So I'm actually creating a table here all about goals. And all I'm going to do is create just an empty table here about goal setting. And so, yeah, if you want to know what is your North Star, it's got to start by, where do you want to go? How do you know where to navigate if you put in Google Maps and you're just navigating on the realm out in the void, wherever? In order to determine where, if you're headed in the right direction, you got to know where you want to go. So these are some quick goals. I have done this with a career coach this year, and I've done this with professionally. I've journaled about it. I'm in a place where I took a few months off of work and really starting that job search kind of from scratch again and figuring out what I want to do, just because of personal life reasons. Everything happened, all of that good stuff. Slowed down a little bit there, but I want to look for goals here. The type of goal that I have, and if you've not heard of a SMART goal, it's that idea of that goals need to be measurable, goals need to be accurate, goals need to be, my goodness, I'm blanking on the algorithm, blanking on the name of what it's called right now, but when you have a SMART goal, and I'm actually going to cheat and Google this real quick. A SMART goal is something that is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So really making sure that our goals are in a way very just organized in these parameters. So again, I kind of drop when I'm making new Airtables. I created an empty table and I just call it kitchen sink, or junkyard, or which has kind of all those random shit that you need when making it, or you want to reference, but you don't want to pull this out. So, and all I'm going to do is just copy that in. But again, this is like a very Aaron thing, is like when I'm creating Airtables, I just want to make sure that everything is in front of me and not having to flip between multiple tabs or multiple windows. So SMART goal just stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So when I think of goals, I had a goal to speak on 30 events in 2020. So that was a goal. I can see, I want to start creating, how many have I done? What is my progress? How do I measure it? And linking it to a different win. So in this case, I want to know every event that I've done. So I want to link this goal to a win. What we do in Airtable is you can just create a simple win column here and link it by using their relation tab. So I'm going to just go ahead, link to another record. I want to create an all wins record. I'm going to add, winning trophy, duh. And I'm just going to create a wins table. I want to see what wins this related to. So anytime that I speak on an event, that's what I can do. One thing that I'm noticing is missing here is I want almost a category of win. So you'll notice I'm not going to check that win at the current by, but I want to add a category of wins. So going back to our wins tab, I want to add a category. So jumping here, insert right, category of win. So is it a win connection-wise? Is it a win in opportunity? Is it a win in a personal growth? Did I do something for the first time, or do I do a really scary thing? How do I categorize this win in my world? And I want to be able to categorize wins in that nice single select. So there is a book I have read for my own career. It's called Weird in a World That's Not. So I'm actually going to go pull that book up so you can see it right now. A World That's Not, which is like a book on, it's literally titled Career Guide for Fuck Ups, Misfits, and People Who Don't Fit In. So I'm going ahead, sharing that screen for you can see what book it's called. It's a pretty easy read. I've recommended it. I've given it to previous folks that I've managed. If you're new in your career, it's a really great one. And it's one, yes, sometimes it does have some newer early stage career advice. Is the only downside is that it does kind of take that earlier perspective on working, but it's okay. And I think we all need that at times. So if you go to sharing my screen, here is that book title for you. So I can just share my screen and you'll be able to see. I don't want to show the tips again. Just that book, Weird in a World That's Not. It's a great little book. Buy it on Book Outlet or buy it at your local independent store. If you need that, just dropping it in. I don't know why they've called it a bargain book, but you get the idea. Great little book. Really awesome. I'll also drop it in the my kitchen sink here as well. So, but as it makes me make categories of like different resources mentioned. And I'm realizing like one thing that you might want to do as I'm kind of building this template is you might want to follow along with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually share my screen or share this Airtable base that you can just click in and view it if you want. So all I'm doing is jumping into the space, creating a link or share publicly. Have a great time. Yeah, I don't really want to kind of jump on this stuff, show extensions. Here we go. And dropping the Airtable base here if you just want to follow along that way. So in this book, Weird in a World That's Not, it breaks down different types of career goals. So it talks about things like networking is super awkward, or, you know, advocating for more money can be super awkward. So we can count these as wins. So wins is, I'm going to call a wins in our categories, bringing this back up, our original categories that we were doing here. I want to add a single select on one type of thing on this here. What I'm going to do is just simply add in category. And then I'm going to put one win is advocated for self. So anytime that means I'm asking for more money or raise, I'm asking for what I need. Like getting my needs for myself is super important. Like recently I had a job interview where I was like, yo, it sounds like you have pretty strict 9 to 5. Like I need to be online 9 to 5. Don't have an issue with that. But I do see a mental health professional and a career coach, and that's currently within the 9 to 5. And I'm happy to log on earlier or afterwards, but I'm a better person at work and in the workplace when I do these things. So that is an example of advocating for myself. So win. Another win I'm going to put is like when someone gives me a shout out. So shout out like, hey, Erin is great or wonderful. That was really helpful. Some sort of public shout out, putting it there. The other one I'm going to add is above and beyond, or like not just like that, but like quality of work. So when a shout out specifically is on the quality of work, one thing I want to be very hyper cognizant of is when we think of wins, it's really easy for us to just be like, oh, I got shouted out on Twitter. What? I'm the coolest ever. Don't play the Twitter game. Don't do that. Like, okay, you have a bunch of Twitter followers. Big deal. But I actually want people to know me for the quality of work that I do. So dropping that one in, quality of work, super important to me. Another quick win that I'm going to add here is consistency. So not only is it important to be quality, but I want to be consistent in the work that I do. So keeping it consistent in everything that I build, what I'm thinking about, and just building consistently. And so thinking about these categories, advocating myself, shout out, quality of work, consistency, these are all great. But my other one is also just like getting that job. So finding that career win, getting that job, being recommended for that kind of stuff. So category of win, these people related ones, I might move to another table. But the next really important field I want to add is impact. So what impact did it have on what I'm building? So customizing this field type, I want to add things like impact, increased reach. One of the big impact things that we measure is like, is this actually increasing reach in what I'm doing? Another impact thing we can think about is increased adoption. So increased product adoption, increased signups, increased uses, so on and so forth. Connections and networking is another one. So I hate being like, oh, the people we meet online are connections and networking. But the truth is, the more you put yourself out there, the more the world comes back to you. And so that's why I really wanted to take up streaming and so on and so forth. So just connections, making new connections, making new friends, making new collaborators, all really great things. Other impact things that we can have is, did someone learn something new? So increase least connections, learn something. So kind of impact, taught a skill or educated a skill. Great. So what impact did I have because of that action? Where's a link to where I can see the win? Who was it mentioned by? I'm actually going to convert this to a reference link. I'm putting it linked to another reference. I'll probably need to create a new table. I want to just create it. This is who mentioned it. And all I have is that. So who mentioned that? When did this happen? Screenshot of it if it happens, and then what goals does it relate to? So just kind of moving this over to goals, really making sure that those goals are front and center. So again, my first goal is 30 events in 2020 this year. I'm giving it a little description. Linking it to what related wins do we have? So what win is it? Goals here, smart, measurable, or 2020. Wow, 2022, Erin. Do you know what year it is anymore? So 30 events in 2022. After we've got those 30 events, another big kind of one I wanted to do is like increase blogging cadence. So increase content creation. So let's see. We're going to do one's making board. So I told myself I wanted to create one piece of content, whether it was a stream, a blog, a TikTok, a whatever, at least once a week. So one piece of content at least once a week. We've got how many days until the end of the year? So just doing some quick math. Calculator here. Days till the end of the year. Currently, we have 73 days left in the year. So 73, calculate that. 73 divided by 7, that's 10 weeks. So in 10 weeks, can I create 50 pieces of content, you think? So that would be 5 a week, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. That might be a little much. Let's do 3 pieces of content a week for 10 weeks. So 30 pieces of content till the remainder of the year. And again, that counts as TikTok, that counts as Twitch, that counts as YouTube content until the end of the year. I also want 10 of those pieces to be newsletters. And that's just kind of growing that. The other thing I really want to do is get my newsletter. So right now, my newsletter open rate is, let me tell you. My newsletter open rate, last I checked, was like sitting about 50%. I want to keep that and maintain that. So my last newsletter open rate, in the last year, I've had 447 members. So I do have a newsletter list. It's about 1,800 people. Some of those have kind of died off. I've really refocused in on these like 447. So I'm going to do 500 newsletter on that core list for the end of the year. 500 newsletter subs. And then the other thing I want to look at is of this. Yeah, it looks like I'm sitting at an average of 64% open rate, which is pretty good. So I want to see if I can grow my newsletter subscription of those most recent subscribers up to and keep them engaged on about that newsletter, keep a consistent above 50% average of open rate till the end of the year. Above. And these are all to the end of 22. So all I'm doing is I want to make sure that these are open, what I'm doing, and I'm going to start establishing those checkpoints now. So now that I've created these goals, I want a way to either A, share them, or B, showcase, like, how am I sharing these? Like, goals are great, but I'm currently looking for a job and a full-time job. And I'm also currently kind of figuring out freelance work and what I want to do. And if you don't shout your wins, which is like something I had to learn, no one really else is going to shout your wins for you. And I don't want to just be someone who gets a shout out on Twitter or whatever, but I want someone who like come back consistently, and is referenced because of the quality of work, not just quantity of work that I'm doing. So that is something that's really important to me. I really want to maintain that through the end of the year. I want to make sure that I'm sharing it as possible. So creating a little bit of a content table. So creating this empty table, and all I'm going to do is, so we're going to call it content or maintenance, or how do we distribute this in the world? So I want to see distributing that content. And all it is distribution. So I want to showcase for every win, it should have a distribution thing. So how do I turn this into the title? What is the quote unquote headline of what I did? So all I'm going to create in this distribution one is headline. And this will be the headline of an article. Think of when you see like a BuzzFeed article and it's like 10 tips to this, or, 5 ways to become a better speaker. I recently wrote something on Dev.2 when I came back from How to Web, which is like, here's 5 reasons of why comedy can make a better tech presentation and teach people better skill sets. And that's really important to me. So I want to think in terms of a headline. So what is the headline that we think about when we're sharing this content piece? Then obviously a talk or a lecture or a workshop can go really deep, and you can create a whole blog post on that. I'm not so much always going to create a blog post for every Twitter space that I do, or every panel I speak on, or even just like, here's an internal workflow that you created. I could create it, but let's be real. I actually have to do my own work as well. So the goal is to share what I'm working on and share my wins, but do so in a way that also doesn't burn me out in sharing my wins and doesn't make my feed sound like a go Aaron fest all day. I like dog pictures and comedy and other things as well. So here's the headline of the piece that we're going to share. I want to put here in this next column, content type. So what is the content type that I'm going to be using? And this can be, I want this to be a single select. So for every piece, one select. All I want to know, is this going to be a Twitter post? 1. Polywork post? Is it going to be a LinkedIn post? LinkedIn project, which I think they have is like a different category on LinkedIn. Newsletter post, blog post, and this is personal. Is this going to be a, let's see, we could do YouTube video, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Dev.2 post, Medium post. Medium's coming back, y'all. It's kind of wild to see. I don't know if anybody here is on Medium. That's pretty cool to see Medium coming back. Medium post. What other things can we post on? Those are the big ones that I've been really focusing on right now, are these current immediate platforms. If you are using other platforms or tools, or you're running a podcast, please, by all means, use your whatever content style that fits best for you. This is just what works for me. I like written. I like this type of content. I like the ways that I do these things. All I'm going to do, click save. Great. So recently I did a workshop on Discord developer communities, and I want to with cfe.dev. And I just want to go ahead and we're going to log this down as a win to start seeing what does this look like? How does this work with, and how do we continue to build this circle and this flywheel of just building my own content together? So creating this empty table, I also want to shout out organizations. Which is organizations affiliated with. View. The organization name. I want to change this to who's affiliated with this organizations. And what wins are affiliated with these organizations. So customize. So this is a great example. And the reason I like this one is if I'm doing and I'm looking for a job at, say, Airtable, and I can turn around and be like, yo, I made this thing. Here's a great chance for you to peek at it. Have a great time. Like, take a peek, look at it. I did this. Have a great peek. It'll be fun. And that's a great way to just kind of show off like you're actually documenting and engaging with those types of people. So, and keeping yourself at the front of mind of the folks you may one day want to collaborate with. So distribution, all I'm going to do here is Discord for developer community. And I'm going to write a headline. So when we think of writing a good headline, there's a couple tips. You can include the who, what, where, when, and the why. On that, we have of that who, what, where, when, and why, include the so what. Why do I give a shit in your organization? And that's something that's so underrated when we're talking about content is we forget to include what is important to someone else. And this is simply just going to be including the so what. So Discord for developers, why, and it's going to be like things I learned from teaching a Discord. So reflecting on the content, we're not just regurgitating the content, but we're going to reflect on the content, but we can still mark down that we did a win. Here's workshop. The content type, let's try this one. I haven't done on Medium in a while, so I'm just going to post it on Medium. When do I want to post it by? So I want to post this by date, publish date. When do I want to publish that on? I think I can get this out tomorrow. And so the current status, and so this is kind of that pretty standard to do in progress done. I'm going to add one more and it can be reshared. So sometimes when we're sharing it, we want to be able to reshare it. So reshare. And so what we'll do is we'll just simply add a formula. So once something is done, we're going to add a formula of what we're doing and why, like how out of date this is. So publish date is here. I want to also post the URL. Where can we find this piece online? We're going to also link this to a goal. So I want to add in link to another record, all wins, related win, so we can find that way to tell that story. And there, all we can see, boom, related win, putting it here. So again, dropping in that win, I can just simply put Discord for developers workshop. It's part of my goal to speak on 30 events by the end of this year. This is part of the category. What I did is I think this was a quality of work, educational content. So I actually am going to add a category because I want to really lean into being and building education programs. And so one of the things I'm going to do is customize. I want to add education programs. Expert educator. Drop it in there, save,
give myself that expert educator one. If there is a Twitter link, I would put that in here. I'm actually going to delete this for the moment. The impact that I had is this increased in my reach with others. I taught a skill, which is really awesome. From there, all I'm going to do is take this URL. I have the URL of the event. People it's related to Brian Rinaldi of CFE.deb. What's up, Brian? Thank you for having me. This happened on October 13th, so last Thursday. Screenshot. If I have anything, what I'll do is I can even run through or related links or related finds. We're actually going to build a quick little automation because I want to start logging my mentions from Twitter in here. So what we can do is actually open up. I think there's actually an Airtable tool these days where you can get a field. Extension. It used to be, if I remember correctly, an Airtable. I know they have a Zapier, but I don't necessarily want to rely on a Zapier if I don't have to. Attachments to URL. I could randomize value. I could. I really thought that they had an Airtable Twitter one, but apparently not. Interesting. They do have a Clearbit one, which is super nice. I don't really know, honestly, why I'm gonna be real. I don't know why the Wherebee or the Google Hangouts ones are there. I've never used that. Side view. Okay. Data validator. No, don't want that. I do love the batch update. That is a really great one. Yeah, no, I'm just going to go ahead and use the Zapier one. So if I'm using Zapier, we're going to go ahead, pull this up. Ignore my dog finding things. So I gotta say this, I have a dog now. I have a dog. Have you heard? I have a dog. He's super cute. Kidding. But seriously, I have a dog. He's super cute. Let's see. All I'm going to do is connect Twitter. Create Zap. I'll stop and share my other screen. Typing in Zapier and Zap. Wow, have another coffee, Aaron. Twitter. Blah, blah, blah. Cool. It's a feature. Don't want it right now. I want to see when I have new follower of me. I don't want that. Choose a user you're telling it's a new follower. No. Tweet and list triggers when there's a new tweet in a specific. See, the thing is a like tweet is actually super helpful because you can actually create a second Twitter account, and whenever you like the tweet, it just shows up in a feed. Actually, I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to do it just when I like a tweet, it shows up. So I'm actually going to create. I have a second Twitter account for comedy I use. But I actually don't just want to create a new Twitter account. And the reason is I just want a bot account. Here, blah, blah, blah. I want to create a new Twitter account. Or let's see, let me do this. Aaron's wins log. Let's see if it'll let me. Sorry, we cannot find her account. Okay, I guess I gotta make a new one. Opening up an incognito window. I'm using browser today. And so that's pretty cool. It's loading. The same icon. Pick the dice pair, the same icon facing up. Wow, these captures are getting harder, man. I don't even know. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. Like, am I just like losing it? Because I think this is like a really hard captcha right now. All right, all I'm trying to show, like, this captcha is super hard. Wait, I thought I just did create an account. What the fuck? Did we do that again? I thought we did this. That's what happens. It was like, we don't want you to share your screen with the really hard captchas. Okay, once I get to the captcha screen, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna jump here in just a second, but it's been fun to kind of figure this shit out together. All right, going to share my screen to show the really obnoxious captcha. I think captchas are getting smarter. I am struggling with this one. Choose the pair of dice with the same icon facing up. All right, these two look the same, right? Great. Okay, one done. Awesome. Pick the dice pair with the same two setting up. So I'm like looking at this. I see the guitars. Great. The dice pair. And then like the third one last time like fucked me over. I was like, I don't know. So I see these like little mobiles. But then I was like, okay, phew, got it. Awesome. Go opening up that verification code, finding my email on all a bajillion browsers that I've got open. Do-do-do-do-do. Stop my screen again so you guys can't see my super secret password stuff. All I've named my account is Aaron's Wins. All right, I just randomly clicked a bunch of followers. So don't judge if there's something chaos that comes up. I'm going back to my window here, yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to sign in. It's like, hey, dummy, you signed in, you forgot your password already. This is what happens when you auto-generate your password. Don't do this. I think I seriously forgot my password already. Yike. How did I already forget my password? That's like some fucking talent. Password generators, they're pros and cons, man. All right, back here. Like tweet. All I'm doing is giving Zapier access to add it, continue. I want to be able to just, and all I'm doing is like on a second account, authorizing this app. It's a Wins app. All I want to see is when I log in, I want to create it. I'm moving this Zap into my Airtable. So continue, setup trigger. Just because, so, and I just want to see. Testing my trigger. And again, all I'm trying to do is make it easier. So when I like a tweet from this account, it just loads up in an Airtable and I don't have to go, oh crap, that one thing, I don't copy paste it. It's going to make me create a tweet in this account. Here. All names of other stand-up comedy account. If you're interested in stand-up comedy, you can find me on Twitter at that. So I want to find a wins here. So here's a win. All I'm gonna do is like this account. Oh shit. Ah, cancel. I didn't mean it. Discard. Ah. So just gonna like this tweet. Popping this here. Continue. It found it because I was like, hey, you'll like your tweet. Awesome. Rad. Woo, woo. All I want it to do is zap this to my lovely Airtable. So I'm going to log it to my Airtable. And actually, I've been using Clay, so clay.earth, if you're following along. It's kind of a personal CRM, which is kind of nice. So bam, send it to Airtable. We'll drop it in. All I want to do is create a record. What's up? And if we're going to open up, I don't want the Airtable for the extension. I just want to be able to take this. Here is my Airtable from Heck. I want to see my community wins. It's the name of my title. And just drop in, create a tweet column. Mhm. We should customize these. Hmm. Usually makes you have a date one. Create a bio. And actually, because I'm dropping it in here, I want to be able to drop it directly in here. So I want to be actually create the link from the other one. So I want to do Twitter bio here. All right, and I'll have to jump here shortly, but I'm going to keep building this out. So if you want to follow along, I'll be posting everything in the details. But thanks for those who tuned in every so often, and I hope you learned something new. And if not, I'm excited to kind of keep jamming with you. Later.